gift that you traditionally normally give to your dad on Father's Day. We're going to do something different, and we're going to equip the moms and the children when it comes to braaiing on Father's Day. I'm joined by Mr Braai Guy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you on Impact 103. First time on Impact 103, right?
Yeah, lovely to be up here.
Oh, well, we are so excited because this is not going to be a once-off discussion with you, Mr Braai Guy, on Impact 103. In fact, you're going to be taking part in a campaign with us with 8 Cake. That is meat, supermarket and meat through the next couple of weeks, actually. And we're going to just be helping the mums and the children find that perfect piece of meat, that perfect side dish, how to braai the meat, why we choose wood or briquettes or whatever it is, how long the meat needs to be on, all those kind of things that we as women need to know when it comes to making that perfect braai. So let's first go with the sirloin that we are going to be talking about today. That is that perfect piece of meat that 8 Cake offer. And a side, herb butter. Why are you going with herb butter this morning?
Well, sirloin is one of my favorite cuts of meat. The trick with it is it can be very tough. So you do need to select a good one and obviously a good supplier, aka 8 Cake. Why the herb butter? I love a herb butter over my steak, and it's pretty much my go-to. I normally steer away from very saucy steaks because I like it when the steak is zero. For me, the gyro needs to be the protein. So the seasoning you choose and the sides or the toppings you choose for your steak, keep in mind the steak needs to be the gyro, and that's why I go with the herb butter. So the various kinds of herb butters you can make, and this is my go-to. The one that I'm going to chat to you about today is my go-to herb butter. But try it, and that'll answer your question.
I must be honest, Mr Braai Guy, when I go into a butchery, I'm a little bit overwhelmed by the choice that we have in these butcheries. And then I kind of go with what I know, what I normally order in a restaurant. How do I go about not being overwhelmed in a butchery and just going to go choose that perfect steak?
That's a great question. And I hear exactly what you're saying. You go into many butchers and you get to the deli counter and it's this sauce and that sauce and this sauce and that sauce, and you think, okay, which one I'm going to go for? And it's kind of trial and error. But again, coming back to why I prefer the herb butter, because I like a nice clean cut of meat, preparing that meat well on a preferably wood fire, preparing it well on a wood fire, and topping it with something subtle. So how do you choose a perfect cut? I think you first choose your butcher. Choose your butcher well. I think a lot of people steer away from butchers because they say they're too expensive, but they've gone through the effort to bring good quality meat, and they go through the effort to age the meat well. So most cuts you'll find have been wet aged, dry aged. A lot of butchers believe in dry aging the meat, and that's a discussion for another day. Sirloin, very important that sirloin needs to be in a vacuum pack and needs to be aged for, I'd say, at least 21 days, because the sirloin is a very fatty and also very sinewy. Could be a very sinewy piece of meat which is cut from the T-bone. Probably the most tasty. So the advantage at the end is the taste. But how do you choose it? Find out what you enjoy. People enjoy fillet. Why? I don't know. It's got no flavor. So choose your cut. And there you go. After you obviously go speak to your butcher. And I think that's the key, is to go make contact with your butcher and start talking about what you can try without having to go with all the saucy meats.
I'm thinking when you say talk to your butcher, there's obviously going to be a relationship that is built between yourself and the butcher, and 8 Cake obviously offer that kind of relationship. They want that with their customers. It doesn't want to just be a transactional. You must come in there and say, I really feel like this piece of meat today, what do you recommend?
I agree with that. And I think the smaller butchers, obviously, you can walk in, you can chat to a specific name, and at 8 Cake there's a row of very friendly blockmen ready to hop and answer your questions. And I've got my one favorite that I work with at 8 Cake all the time. She knows exactly how I want my cut of meat, and that's a relationship you go build. And if you don't have that, ask a mate or send a WhatsApp.
Or YouTube.
Or YouTube.
Okay, so I've got my piece of meat, that perfect piece of meat that I'm ready to
Which
go
one is it?
and put. It's going to definitely be a sirloin.
Okay, good.
Definitely, without a doubt.
Good.
Now I need to know, when it comes to choosing fire, wood,
Yes.
or is it going to be a briquette, or is it what am I choosing? You obviously going with fire with wood.
I do go with wood. That's my preferred option. Oh, this is also a lengthy conversation. How much time do we have?
As much time as we need. We need that perfect fire.
Really, eh?
We need it for Father's Day.
I tell you, wood is a massive discussion, and I have lots of conversations around wood at my fires. The problem with wood is there's a lot of wood sold, especially in the east of Pretoria, which is still wet. So if you had to give me a wet piece of wood or a young wood, it's not really wet because of rain, it's wet because it's young. If you give me, let's call it a young wood. If you give me a young, unseasoned wood, I'd rather brine briquettes. In fact, I might even rather brine gas, which is saying a lot. So
is that really brying if you're brying on gas?
Do you know what? I find gas to be very convenient. There's a convenience factor in the week. If you quickly want to brine sirloin in the week, gas does give you that quick fire, just click, click, and you can start brying. Wood, obviously you get the flavor. It gets a little bit more technical, but let's get back to the wood question. So, and I think we need to savor this one for another day and chat wood, because wood is a big topic. There's a lot of sicklebush in the area. We use the cameel doring, there's the knoppies doring, there's so many different options of wood, and which wood you use at what time. So I mostly braai with a very dry sicklebush. So I get my fires going with the small little pieces, and then I add my bigger chunks of sicklebush, but it's a very dry sicklebush. So literally lay in the veld for 2 seasons. So it went through a summer, winter, and then onto my fire. And that's my preference. So to answer the question, briquettes or wood, briquettes on a Weber. If you're braaiing on a Weber, briquettes is your preferred option, and just add 1 or 2 chunks of wood just to give it a bit of a woody flavor. But wood doesn't really work that well on a Weber, especially if you're going to put the lid on. On an open fire, wood is your answer. You get a lot of charcoals in the market as well, and a lot of lumpwood charcoals, and some charcoals even get made with Namibian hardwood. So you still get that wood flavor. It's not that anthracite, that heavy charcoaly flavor. And those are the ones that I try and steer away from. Obviously, we're not mentioning brands, but that's yet another thing to look out for when you light your fires, that you don't have that heavy anthracite flavor in your charcoal. So choose your charcoal wisely. Charcoal, quick fire. So if you want to braai in the next 25-30 minutes, you light the charcoal fire, your fire's ready you got about 10-15 minutes to braai on.
That's how I kind of braai.
There we go.
Yes, that's my one. So I've gone with charcoal, you've gone with wood. I've chosen my sirloin steak, and now I need to know, when it comes to, because I've chosen charcoal now,
yes,
how long must my meat be on the fire, on a charcoal fire?
This is a loaded question. Do you know how many people, and I cringe when I hear it, do you know how many people say, braai, 7 minutes, turn 7 minutes? There are so many factors. Look, Pretoria, I'm opening up a whole lot of topics. Pretoria, probably the best braai weather in the world. I mean, you sit around a boma fire in Pretoria, where does the smoke go? Up.
Correct.
There's hardly wind in Pretoria. We've got the perfect braai weather. So let's say, for argument's sake, we're braaiing in Pretoria. And how long? Don't know. Feel your meat. If you've got a thermometer, check your meat. Depends how you like your meat. I say it's a sin to go over medium rare. Definitely something you have to repent of afterwards. So medium rare is my limit. When I do my events, actually, that's what I say to the clients as well. And I normally say to them, if you don't enjoy medium rare, try it. Because most people, here's another topic, most people don't enjoy medium rare because they don't like blood in their plates. But that comes down to technique, a braaiing technique, to avoid the blood in your plate. So time. It depends on the type of wood you use. It depends on the type of charcoal you use. It depends on how high you are off your fire. Are you in a closed braai? Are you in an open braai? So there's so many variables. So that's why it's important to learn what your medium rare steak looks like. And again, the thickness of your cut. If you've got a minute steak and you went to the wrong butcher and he gave you a minute steak sirloin, then 2 minutes, and then you can eat medium rare steak. So the time factor opens up it's a can of worms that you open up now, and you can.
I feel like I need a degree in braaiing. I thought I knew how to braai. Seriously, when Liacho came to me and said 8 Cake are coming on board with Impact 103 and Mr Braai Guy is going to be over here, I'm so excited. Like, yeah, no, Liacho, I know how to braai. It's totally cool. But now I think I need to go back to basics. So this has been an amazing discussion, and it's going to be ongoing because you are going to be in studio on a couple of occasions. Okay, so now I've got my perfect sirloin. I've decided to go with briquettes or charcoal. Sorry, yep. Good listener. Mm-hmm. Just checking you're listening. Great. I'm going with charcoal, and I'm going with that lemon and herb, or not lemon and herb, rather the herb side, because you feel that is the best option. All right. Well, we can go with many options. I'm sure you're going to say that's just another loaded question, but we're going with lemon, rather with, I don't know why I keep on saying lemon and herb. Liacho, I need to get my notes right.
Intuition, right? Because there's lemon in the recipe.
All right. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. But so now we've got that ready. We know how long we need to be braaiing our meat for that perfect meal on Father's Day. For those of the ladies over here that are thinking, okay, my gosh, this is just going to be too much. I need to do more studying on the braaiing. You've got a prize to give away.
Yes,
right?
we do. Yes, we do.
What's this prize? Because I think this is going to be pretty cool for a Father's Day gift.
All right. So what we'd like to give away is a Father's Day. I've got a Father's Day event, obviously on Father's Day, the 18th of June, at a beautiful venue in the east of Pretoria called La Patio. And I'm serving... But so most of my events are focused around the elaborate dining side. So we focus a lot on the plating, so it gets a little bit more fancy. So Father's Day, I've just come up with and we can say it, lekker platter. So I've gone with a meaty platter with not so hot. Last time I got the not so hot wrong. Not so hot peri-peri wings. Obviously make my own sauce. We've got a sirloin steak with a herb butter melted over it, and then we've got a smoked pork ribs with a Mr Braai Guy rib basting. I say Mr Braai Guy rib basting specifically because it's not a barbecue basting. It's got a nice apple cider vinegar flavors in it, so it brings out the smokiness in the ribs. Then we've got potato wedges with a garlic aioli to dip the potato wedges into, and then we've got a curried butter mealie. And this is a platter for 4, and we're giving a table for 4 away to the value of 1,800 Rand. So you enter and you come to my event. We've got a wine farm and a sommelier coming and doing wine pairing. We've got 33 Lager doing a welcome drink. So yeah, and we've got Christian Bartman, who's going to play music for us, and a great musician, a lot of fun. He knows how to read a crowd and get a crowd amped, and it's just going to be a jewel. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we're giving that away. I'd love to give that away to our Impact listeners.
If you would love to get your hands on those 4 tickets to the Father's Day events that Mr Braai Guy is putting on, send through your name and say Father's Day table. And I'm not choosing. Mr Braai Guy is going to be choosing the winner for that, because it's going to be very interesting to see who and how you're going to pick these people, because I know they're going to want to do this. For those that don't, they would rather just stay at home, want to do this braai, they want this herb sauce put together. What is your suggestion? I'm sure you've got some spices, you've got some tricks to make that perfect herb side for this sirloin on Father's Day.
So we were chatting. We what as you started, what is a great gift to give a dad, and not the socks and not the. I was going to say jocks. So let's go with the sirloin. So go to 8 Cake. Choose a nice thick cut sirloin. Because you're getting it from 8 Cake, we know it's going to be nice and tender. So we don't have to worry about the toughness of it. But it's going to have a nice ring of fat on the side. Now, I always say there are 2 conduits that we've got that gives flavor to our meat. That's bone and fat. So we have to use the fat. Though, if you had to give me a Father's Day and cook it for me, I think I'd be disappointed. So give me the Father's Day gift and allow me to cook it. So I'm not saying don't cook it, but I'm going to show you what I thought would be a great gift is the sirloin steak. We've got 8 Cake sell Mr Braai Guy braai spice, and if you give a table of the braai spice with the sirloin, and I'll quickly tell you how to make that herb butter. So the herb butter, what that gets melted over the steak just before serving. So literally you got the warm side, you flip it around, you put the butter on it and it just melts over. We'll probably post some pictures so you can have a look at what it looks like. Key is to get the fat nice and crispy, so I always put the fat down over the wood fire or a fire, charcoal fire for your sake. So you take, let's say, I take a full block of butter because I use it again and again and again. So let's go with half a block of butter. So you cut a small slither of the butter off, put it in a pan, chop up 2 shallots. If you don't have shallots, use a small onion, 2 cloves of garlic, 2 sprigs of thyme. You just pick off the leaves and pop it into the pot with the butter. Let the butter melt. Add the shallots, the chopped shallots, and the chopped garlic with the thyme leaves, and a pinch of salt and a pinch of smoked paprika. You pop that into the pot. And we'll put this on socials as well for you guys, so you can actually go look up after. And I think we're shooting a video of this too. So you pop that in a pot, get a nice golden color on the onion. Once that's golden, you take it out, you pop it into your bullet, mix it so you get it nice and runny, and then you throw that into the rest of the butter. And you work it with your hands, you work it through the butter. You get all those beautiful flavors and colors through your butter. Then you add another 45 grams of paprika. I prefer the Spanish smoked paprika. You pop that in, half a teaspoon of salt, you work it through the butter. What I then do is, I've got 2 techniques here. I either melt it down and I pour it into a baking tray. You get those silicone baking trays. But the easiest is you work it through the butter, get the butter nice and soft. You put it into a Glad wrap and you roll it. You get a nice shape. You roll it up, put it in the fridge. So when you're braaiing, all you do is you take your sharp knife and you cut through it and you get these little, what do you call it, a medallion of butter, and you pop that on the top, and that's what melts over your steak. I hope it made sense. I was trying to say it in as few words as possible.
You know, if you didn't understand what was being said over here, then you don't know how to braai, and that's okay, because it's going to be on Impact 103's socials. We're going to go and do a recap on how Mr. Braai Guy decides to get that perfect herb with the sirloin, if that's what you want to have on Impact, or rather on Father's Day, that is. Before we go, I like what you said. If sometimes the dads want to do their own meat, make this a family occasion. It doesn't have to just be dads or moms braaiing for dads. If dads want to braai their own meat and moms are doing the sides and the kids are getting involved, helping with the fire, then that's what it is about at the end of the day.
Isn't that what a braai is about? That's what I always say to people. What is a braai?
Community.
And the answer is 100% community. It's about the time around the fire. It's about that little piece of meat that accidentally falls off the fire and happens to end up in your mouth.
Exactly.
That's what the braai is about. It's about the smoke. It's about that moment. And that is the heritage of the South African braai, is the kuier.
Mr. Braai Guy, I'm officially hungry now. I had breakfast, but I think I need to go for a snack now. And I think one of these morning drive shows, we need to actually have a braai. Thank you so much for being in on Impact 103.
Thank you very much.
This is The Morning Drive Show.